Mies was all about an attention to detail in the construction of the house. Notice the perfection in the corners where the steel C-channels meet. One steel channel is coped to fit on the inside of the other, so the weld could be made on the face of the steel instead of in the corner. This precision is repeated in the flange pier where it connects with the steel channel. You can see that these plug welds are ground down smooth so as not to have any blemishes. Now this is true throughout the entire visible portion of the house. This work being done by that of an ornamental steel worker. The underneath or hidden part of the house, all of the steel work was then done by a structural steel worker. There was actually a distinction made on Mies's drawings to indicate.
Do you know how deep the steel piles go into the foundation?
How deep?
Yeah.
The support? I believe it's 5 feet.
5 feet, okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not absolutely sure, but
okay.
That's what they tell me.
Okay.
I was going to point out that normally you would be viewing the protrusion of nuts and bolts and rivets, as is done in traditional steel construction. In this case, of course, a hole is cut into the steel and all of the work then is done on the inside. It's then filled with material, sanded down smooth, and eventually painted with a white leaded paint originally, but now being covered with an epoxy product called Tenemac. A famous quote from Mies was, "God is in the details." You will notice that by doing this, the house appears to be suspended in midair. This, of course, was definitely by design by the architect. The stone is travertine limestone, imported from a quarry outside of Rome, Italy. This was Mies's favorite stone. It's on many of his buildings. It's a very porous stone, however. There is an elaborate system of gravel-filled basins and funnels situated underneath the floor to assist in draining the rainwater away from the house. You will notice there's much more damage on the stone on this lower terrace area than on the upper deck and inside. This is due to the fact that this area is generally covered over with floodwater at least twice a year. Okay, follow me. Note the gentle rise in the steps. They are cantilevered or suspended, but have been reinforced to accommodate the numbers of people going through the house on these tours. Notice that the design of the terrace balances or offsets the design of the rest of the house. Mies was intent on making all of these horizontal planes of an equal depth. It really was all about proportion. Now, as we move to the upper deck, I would first like to draw your attention to this feature. This is a trademark of Mies's. It's called a reverse entrance column. It's actually quite sturdy but delicate in appearance and does not obstruct the view from the inside. It's constructed of 4 strips of steel. It's on many of Mies's buildings, but this is the first one it was used on. Okay, you can come on up. The frame of the door is aluminum with brass fittings. You'll note when we enter there is no threshold. This is consistent with this free-flowing space. The handle originated from the dollhouse in Italy. Seen and required this to be was sent to the example used in this country. It is, of course, now mass-produced and used everywhere. Notice the echo on the deck. This is due to the fact that the plaster is actually much harder on the outside than it is on the inside to withstand the elements. Now, originally this deck area was designed to be surrounded by screens. You must keep in mind that client and architect were disputing costs toward the end of construction. As a result, when Dr. Farnsworth first moved in, those screens were omitted. But she was here a very short time before she realized the mosquitoes and the insects down here in the woods and along the river were going to be a problem. At that point, she went to William Dunlop. He was an associate in Mies's firm, as she was not speaking to Mies at the time, and asked that they be added, which they were. They were made of bronze. They were very dark in color. They completely surrounded this deck area. There was a pivotal door here at the top of the steps. This greatly increased her living space. It also allowed for the front door to be left open for better ventilation throughout the house, and those screens were kept for the 20 years that she was here. When Lord Colombo took over in the early 70s, he removed the screens, as it was believed that Mies had never really wanted them here to begin with. He had said they disrupted his jewel-like design on the house. Lord Colombo also decorated the home in a manner much more consistent with international style. Dr. Farnsworth had everything from Chippendale to Danish modern furniture. She was also a collector of Asian art. Some of her collection is currently housed at the Art Institute in Chicago. But it was Lord Colombo who was said to have been the ideal steward of the home, because he's the one that was most loyal to Mies's minimalist style. Okay, if you would, please have a seat on the bench or the Victorian chairs to remove your shoes. We will be entering the house now. Do keep in mind that we honor it as a museum, so we ask that you refrain from touching anything on the inside.